What up? What up? What up? It's your boy Ricky D checking in, man. Welcome back to Sports Corner from the 216. Tonight, Cleveland finally has an answer. You already know. Deshaun Watson is the starting quarterback for week one. You already know. Hey, we got to live with it, man. We got to live with it. Of course, the Guardians just swept Colorado and suddenly back in the playoff conversation. The Cavs are continuing to reshape their roster. But where it gets interesting is decisions are easy to make, but living with those decisions is where the pressure begins. So tonight, I'm asking, when you make a choice, are you prepared to live with the consequences? Are you? But we're going to start this show off, of course, with Browns breaking news. Deshaun Watson is named the starter for week one. The Browns have chosen Deshaun Watson over Shador Sanders for the September 13th opener against Jacksonville. That's my little one. That's a special day for a couple of people. But the decision comes after two quarterbacks split first team opportunities, throughout camp and preseason, which maybe they seen some of us as fans didn't see. You know what I'm saying? But they seen something we didn't see. What is this? One second, y'all, because I'm looking at my screen down beyond it, and it's doing some other stuff. Okay, there we go. It was double trouble for y'all. Yeah, though. But you already know Deshaun. So Deshaun is the starting quarterback, y'all. I'm kinda, because I had a busy day. The last few days, recipes to the homie. If you know, you know. One of Cleveland's finest. When it comes to the heart, the worker, shout out to the. But yeah, man, recipes to that boy, man. He was a good dude, from what I know. But anyhow, Deshaun Watson is the quarterback, man. I I could kind of reference this because I'm not really like disappointed, but I thought the Browns was in like another phase, but I guess they feel like they rather transition into that phase with an experienced quarterback. And after the game during the press conference, I kind of thought to myself, okay, Watson might have just disqualified himself with the comments he made. But at the same time, me being the Libra I am, I looked at it from both sides, and then I thought, like, maybe him speaking up for himself might, change the narrative somewhat, because he has never actually spoken up about the situation. He's only tried to say the right thing, but sometimes the right thing ain't what people want to hear. You know what I'm saying? When it comes to the best interest in you as a person, you get what I'm saying? But he did have a rough night against Buffalo. He was what, 5 for 12, 35 yards of interception. He had like a 14% completion like quarterback rating. in the booze, I heard them. I'm like, oh, here we go, man. Cleveland, we got some hard. We got some Cleveland. I don't know. It could be worse anywhere because I only know really Cleveland when it comes to the fan base, and we tough. You get what I'm saying? But in other situations, when it comes to the quarterback, Shador did such a decent. It must wasn't a good job or great at that, but Shador went 9 for 11, 74 yards, a touchdown. In the interception, I feel like the tight end should, you never say what a person should do, but I felt like they could have caught the pass. You know what I'm saying? But as a fan base out there, do you feel like the Browns made the right decision? You know, it's Washington versus Shador. You know what I'm saying? Decision versus evidence. The Browns chose Watson. Prove it. Now it's up to you to prove they made the right decision, Watson. After being named the starter, you got to prove it. Show them you still got what they paid for. Because that's what I'm leaning into, man. I'm really believing that the Haslam's like, look, we're going with Watson because Watson is that guy right now. You know what I'm saying? We done invested in him, so go out there and prove it, But I also feel like it ain't Shador's opportunity. His door is not closed. So we don't want to go, because Watson got to come out Jacksonville and put in that work. You get what I'm saying? He got to show up and show out. He got to at least produce. Like if we don't win against Jacksonville, it can't be Watson's fault. But then we got I'm gonna have to check the schedule. But we got 2 games away before we come back home. So now you have to explain that choice, through performance, like prove you gotta prove it, watching that Monken made the right choice. I don't feel like Monken was the only person making that decision. He just played a part in it, but it was a collective. You get what I'm saying? Because at the same time, you got side A, the coaches. You know what I'm saying? They watch, they know, the practice reps, the meeting room, something us as fans, or even just as sports people, because everybody is not a fan. But I'm this sports corner from the 216. Anyhow, they they decided how leadership qualities, the development. That's why I say Shador. See, you got to kind of get away from because I was gonna say Shador's door, but his door, Sanders' door, is not closed as being the starter for the Browns this season. They in the long run they've been kind of telling us like, of course, and I say it all the time, the veteran doesn't lose their starting position based off injury. So Washington had to kind of like play horrible for him to not seize the thing. A lot of us we was thinking, even the national people, okay, if it's like evenly matched, if it's close, you want to go with the younger person. You know what I'm saying? But if it's close at the same time, you go with the veteran, and now the backup is just as good as the starter, if not better. But we're gonna go with the starter first. That's why I said I'm just thinking in my head. I ate before I did the show because now I'm feeling a little full and everything. They're good for Tony. But yeah, man, us as the fans or the fans, the public doesn't see everything, but as fans, you know, we was only going off what our eyes saw, you know. And then when you watch preseason games, most of us don't realize. that we looking at football, but the coach is probably looking at something totally different. It's something they telling them to do, something they want to see that you don't even really know. So when a play might go bad, it's not going bad because the player messed up. Like it's because it didn't flow the way that they was probably hoping, the coaches. But Sanders did look better, even though Washington struggled. So it's in the air. This is probably why a lot of people like kind of like it's it's a battle. It's uneven. You got some fans feeling this way, some fans feeling that way because of what they saw. But in the end, guess what? It doesn't even matter because the decision is made. You know what I'm saying? So the only thing you could do now is go out there and win. And Washington is the starting quarterback. So what you do is go out there and put some work in. Now you got your set. You got Washington starting. You got Shador as your backup. So now this new game is probably deciding if who gonna be the third string because a guy like Taylor Green, you can't throw him on the practice squad because he has his upside is like it's kind of you know but look, he might be
I love it.
somebody
You guys are
special,
so great.
because the Browns didn't choose Washington because of like guaranteed to succeed type thing or something. You know, they believe he was the best option based off experience. You know, but as an organization, it only falls back on them now. And earlier today, I did a rapid fire from the 216, and I was referencing how Shador's actions during the in-game interview and after the game, Shador might have, you know, set himself back. Like he kind of got a little bit cocky, a little bit, overconfident, maybe you could say. But I don't know what Siri talking about, but she be listening too much. I don't like that. I think I'm about to dismantle Siri. So you tell me if that appropriate, Siri. Yeah, man. But think and reflect segment is going down. You already know. I gotta we gotta reflect on this stuff. Can we separate a person from their worst moment? Can we? Is there an opportunity of us separating ourselves or knowing someone and separating them from the worst moment in their life? You get what I'm saying? Some people, some people, you know, they grow. You get what I'm saying? Some people grow, because tonight is it's a real life conversation because the decision was made based off of how someone felt. You know what I'm saying? Any and sports give us a perfect doorway into that because some decisions are made that could make a lot of people question why was this decision made. You know what I'm saying? It's crazy because the statement, man, that Watson made, you wonder how fans, but like I say, man, some fans might have felt a little sympathetic for him, and at the same time, though, it didn't. Excuse me. At the same time, Watson, though, it still didn't have like a sincerity to it. Because I was listening to the old heads earlier, and they like, "Did you hear an apology?" You know what I'm saying? Like that's something about the culture that I come from. Like our that was an apology. When it's hard, man, because we are standards, and you know what I'm saying. So saying sorry is almost like degrading. You know what I'm saying? That's why I felt when Kevin Gates was like, "Yeah, I'm not apologizing. I just asked for forgiveness. It's on the person to forgive me, and to ask for forgiveness. You know what I'm saying? That's genuine. That's sincere. Like because to be able to add the mention that you're asking for the forgiveness is the fact that you acknowledge your fault in the situation. You know what I'm saying? But the situation is complicated with Washington. I can't wait to see how this turn out, man. Seriously, because they was booing, man, and it didn't seem emotional at the end, but it's like, man, let me say what's on my mind. Let me tell the Cleveland fans how I really feel about how y'all reaction is. You know what I'm saying? And he made sure he made that statement about when he tore his Achilles. You know, so man, it's almost like did he reignite? You know what I'm saying? The fan base based off of his performance, though, because they was only really booing your performance at that point, and you brought up the injury thing, so that now we know that's been on your mind. And ain't nothing wrong with that. I can understand. You know what I'm saying? That's real life. You know how quickly do we define people though? By what? Their worst decision, their biggest failure, you know, their most embarrassing moment, you know, something they said, something they did years ago. Like, are you still, and you really shouldn't judge, but when they say define, do you look at people as they are today or who they were then? You get what I'm saying? Because we all go through trials and tribulations. You know what I'm saying? We all do things like I hear people say, like I think it was Watson said it too. I don't regret nothing, man. Yeah, you do. It's things that you done done that you know that's just your way of trying to keep your innocence. You know what I'm saying? But it's very few people on this planet today or ever been on this planet that they made it through and just you get what I'm saying? Like ain't got no type of you know what I'm saying? Damn, why I do that? You know what I'm saying? I wasn't thinking. Some people was thinking and still did it. And then afterwards didn't think about it after and didn't care. You know what I'm saying? And once we decided who someone is, that's you just like you got to take a look at yourself. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you ever give a person? And I used to say that because I've been through some things, and a lot of people judge me based off of my past, especially my one route because I was a, troubled youth and young adult, and but over the times I was always still built in my portfolio because I don't like to say never, but my plan and my goal wasn't to always be, like stable in the community that I was raised. Even though I love where I come from and that environment, like because that's how I grew up, so that's part of my life. But you still see better. You know what I'm saying? Like you see that is more out there, and some people want it. You know what I'm saying? It actually gives life a thrill, but at the same time, some people get a thrill out of living what they know because it's comfortable. But you know how they say comfortable, getting yourself comfortable will stagnate you. But you already know sports people, they go through it all the time because one game they could be the most hated, and then the next game they do what they need to do, if not more, and now they love. You get what I'm saying? Like the example, a player can win 20 games and miss one crucial shot. Suddenly he a choke artist. You know what I'm saying? A quarterback can have a great career and throw interceptions. Suddenly he's washed. You know, a coach can win for years, one bad season. Man, get rid of him. And you could put me in the category of sometimes being one of them. But I try to stay consistent and honest with my thoughts because I was an athlete growing up myself. So I understand you can have a bad game. You can have a bad moment in life, even in life. You know, some people find the path and it just carries on without ease on down the yellow brick road. You know, you get straight to the wizard without having to stop in the junkyard or the jungle or wherever, running into the Tin Man and the lion and the scarecrow, building up your character or whatever. So that's almost like a person always having something almost handed to them, and then all of a sudden now they got to learn to earn it. And I think that's kind of what Shador going through right now, because it's all yeah, he played, and but it's almost kind of been handed to him because his lineage. You get what I'm saying? He go put on a show, but that could be something else that's going on, man. We not about to just hand you this because the fan base think this guy don't deserve to start. Speaking on Watson, you know what I'm saying? Because the big question is, are we evaluating people or are we collecting evidence to confirm basically what we already believe about them? Like, not really giving them an opportunity to show us that it's more to them. It's better. It's a chance that a person can change. You get what I'm saying? Or become a better version of them. It's like some people might have last time they seen you was when you was at your worst. But over the years, you've been working on, improving yourself, becoming a better version of yourself, like exploring the opportunities of life that's given to us because there's plenty of opportunities out here. You know what I'm saying? It can get hard to struggle because you got to still learn how to piece it together. Like chess, you got to play a little checkers, then you got to switch the game over to chess. Then you got to deal. You got to make sure you're working with the cards you was dealt. You know what I'm saying? So it's always, you know what I'm saying, some moves got to be made. You get what I'm saying? But that's the big question, and that's the conversation, man. Are we collecting evidence to confirm what we already believe about them as a person or you? That's the best. The only person I feel like we honestly should go take a look at and even have any type of judgment. Yeah, you'd be like, oh man, you know what I'm saying? But you don't have control of others. So the only thing you could do is learn to control yourself. Like I have little moments where, because people drive reckless, and I be in the car, I'm, you know what I'm. Sometimes I ain't really road raging, but I'm upset because some people drive like they not concerned about other people's well being. Like earlier today, I'm on the freeway, so I done been hit from a few angles now. So I pay attention to my surroundings. Man, I look in the side mirror. I keep my distance. I don't like to be bunched up on cars, and I seen that it was like a big, sometimes you see the cars on the freeway and they be all like bunched up together. Man, here come this car doing 80, 90 miles an hour into the crowd. I'm thinking, okay, he gonna slow down because it's a crowd of cars that's bunched up. Like, man, this dude done found a way to whoop, whoop, whoop. He just weaving through the traffic doing 75 miles an hour, 80 miles an hour with all these cars bunched up. I'm just like, man, I hope it don't be no accident because, accidents cause, sometimes accidents can cause chain reactions and boom, 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 boom. Now you caught up in an accident that you know part of that you was actually trying to avoid, but because this one person didn't care about how they was moving, thinking about themselves, they didn't put so many other people in danger, man. I just don't get that, but that's another topic. You know what I'm saying? But hey, man, can someone earn their trust back though? Like after you done been through some things with people and you feel like maybe they done did more than what they could have or whatever. Could is almost a should, but you know what I'm saying? Like, do you forgive them? Can you earn their trust back? Can they earn your trust back? Does accountability require punishment? Does somebody have to actually go through hardship and some things based off of what they did? And that's like when you do the time, like you say, like my theory is, man, if you is gonna be out there, because I'm my own troubles was always trying to, get it. So if you do the crime, you do the time, man. If you don't want to do the time, don't do no crime. You know what I'm saying? That's where I'm at in life. I ain't gonna go sell nobody out. Or I'm gonna just stay away. Do some productive things in life. You know what I'm saying? Do some things I enjoy that maybe can be profitable. Or whatever. But at the same time, it's something that you love to do, so you're gonna do it regardless, just because, hey, I enjoy this. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the times when you're in. But how much do you feel like someone's past also should determine like their future, even though like we on the most important time is right now. So when they say future, it's more like, do you think them people had a potential to be better than you know them or seen them as? You know what I'm saying? Another question is, when someone disappoints you, do you leave room for growth? Like, do you? Because sometimes that could be damaging too, because sometimes you got to step away though, and then that's the room for growth you giving them, is stepping away, letting them learn to become who they feel they are, who they want to be. You know, and then you get to see. But the biggest one is, would you want to judge you forever by your worst moment? Like, think about it. Like, would you, knowing something you did, because if you perfect, raise your hand. No, but anyhow, man, would you want to judge you by your worst moment? Like the worst thing you ever felt like you did, do you judge yourself off of that? Or do you feel like in the process of living, you learn from your mistakes and become better? But hey, this the Think and Reflect segment, man, with your boy Ricky D on the Sports Corner from the 216. And for the closer, I want y'all to listen carefully, man. Accountability doesn't mean someone can never change. Accountability really is a person admitting they can change. Forgiveness, remember I mentioned that forgiveness doesn't mean you forget what happened. Sometimes growth means allowing someone to become different than the person they used to be. And only you can see it if they really trying to be it. You get what I'm saying? But at the same time, should people get a second chance after making major mistakes? They say no, that's why, but your life is your life and you make it. You get what I'm saying? So don't worry about what other people really think of you. Because if you do, you will never grow. You get what I'm saying? You're gonna stay stuck wherever you think you went wrong at. Because you little do people know when they do wrong, they get punished for it. The karma will come back around. You get what I'm saying? And once you realize that, you might think about doing something wrong again. But moving on, man, the Guardians, man. You know, I've been kind of dissing the Guardians a little bit, just a little bit, but they back. They back in the race, man. They done won 5 games this week. They swept the Colorado Rockies. You get what I'm saying? I still call them the Indians, but they back, man. They back into in the fold of things. They're back in the playoff conversation. You get what I'm saying? This is they finally starting to gel. That's what I see. They starting to gel. You know what I'm saying? Like I say, they swept the Colorado Sunday. The final was 7-2. Chased a lot of hit, 2 triples, drove in 2 runs. Excuse me, while Joe O'Dole drove in 2 though. So get them RBIs in your bats. That's why Adele was brought in, and that's why the ladder is such high hopes with the potential because they're like hitters. They look. That's what people you don't like to expect, but that's what people look to get from them. You know what I'm saying? Home runs, RBIs, doubles, stuff like that. Saturday the score was 4-3. Wasn't oh boy hit his 20th home run. Joe Adele hit his 20th of the year. Bobby delivered 6 strong innings. I couldn't be a pitcher because that arm, your arm probably be flimsy as how many pitches you got to throw. You know what I'm saying? But shout out to Bobby. Get it together, boy, because you was supposed to be more than what you've been so far, but it's still enough time to redeem yourself. Because, like I say, we all trying to get better from the worst. You know what I'm saying? But Cleveland moved into a tie for the final American League wild card spot. That's all we need to stay in contention and keep going. Start feeling yourself. This is the what they call this the wild days of summer, the hot days. This is when the baseball season gets intensified. Now, if you real baseball fans, true baseball fans, I ain't gonna say real because I like baseball. True baseball fans, they've been watching since the season opened. But this is when it gets serious, especially if you still like right there in the race. Now it's like, ooh, let me tune into the game. I want to see, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, now it's real. Let's get this going. You know what I'm saying? The Guardians aren't simply just winning games; they're starting to change the conversation. Like I said, they won 5 games this week. They swept a team. They ain't swept a team in a minute, in like months. You know, we went 5-1 all together. And guess how much we outscored our opponents? 33-10. That's them bats coming alive. That's them bats coming alive. And the infield coaches are coaching them players and getting them on base safe so they can make it home. You get it? This your boy Ricky D, Sports Corner from the 216. Don't forget to like and subscribe on YouTube where we at live. We over here on Facebook, Sports Corner page, and we on TikTok. Make sure you like and subscribe. Don't be a hater, be a motivator you get what I'm saying? But yeah, them Guardians, man. I think that deadline woke them up. They woke now. I don't like to say woke, but they awake. You know what I'm saying? Power production is becoming important. Like I say, them bats, the Lauder, Adele, them are power bats. That's like Albert Bell and Jim Tomey. You get what I'm saying? But Bell left us, Tomey left us, and Manny left us. They wanted that money. But Chase DeLauder, the rookie, recent offense production gives Cleveland another reason for optimism. We are a young team. We and our core is set to be together for at least the next 2 to 3 years at least. So get this momentum going. Get into the playoffs. Try to make a run. Hopefully, y'all get to the big, the big. I don't want. I was about to call it the dance, but you know what I'm saying. That World Series. If not, y'all done built some continuity. Going to the off season, go to spring training, summer, what they call it. Well, I always call baseball spring training, but you know what I'm saying. Summer league ball. No, that's bad. But what is baseball? Arizona. I know the Guardians go to Arizona though. Is it the spring league? Something like that, man. See, hey, correct me. You know what I'm saying? Help me where I go wrong. You know, that's what we here for. We here for each other. But Tanner Bobby, you know, they that rotation, you know, they picked up some pitchers too. So one of them was a all-star, you know. So it ain't over, man. The Guardians don't need to convince us they're contenders, y'all. That's the hot take. They need to keep winning. How y'all like this? A nice color, y'all. Ain't if you seen this color, tell me where you saw that. Cause that's what we about to talk about them Cavaliers real quick. You know, I'm kind of I know now. I'm not eating no more right before I do the show because it's like it'd be like pow. I'm gonna stop laughing, but because I'll be having fun, man. Because I read something where, but that's between me and me. Anyhow, the Cavs acquired Peyton Watson in a 5-team trade completed August 20th. The NBA official offseason tracker confirms the deal. The move has generated significant discussion around Watson's defensive ability and upside. That's what I like. The kid only 23. He played defense. He go to the hole with ferocious, with like determined, like get out of my way. Hopefully his 3-point shot stay consistent from last year. But that's what he really needs to work on. You get what I'm saying? Because Cleveland building for right now. What is the next level, man? Because they building. What's the next level? Are you excited about the Watson trade? Hey, when I seen them highlights, I say, yeah, let's go. I say it's on now. I said we got that small forward we've been kind of looking for. He a little bit more, athletic than the previous one we traded for. That defense, he athletic. I was saying that in one of my rapid fires. He young. We got a young squad mixed with us, some vets. Harden got his 3 year, 90-something million contract. Of course, your boy Donovan Mitchell got his contract. Evan Mobley still got 4 years, 4 years. You got Allen, you got a little bench. Hey, that move made a big difference, man. That one move, that's crazy. That's crazy. But what y'all think? Y'all think we can get back to the Eastern Conference so we can compete to get to the finals? What does Cleveland need to become before we call them a legitimate championship contender? And you already know it's almost that time. We moving on, man. And we're going to get to these old states before we get to the end because the show going to come to an end today only. And we'll be back next week. Ohio State enters the season with a massive expectations, the number one seed. Today, quarterback Julian Sam was named the Manning Award preseason watch list, adding to his growing list of preseason honors. I ain't know Sam was getting all the honors. See, I've been slipping in the dark. I've been so focused on that quarterback conversation, and Sam been coming up as a potential draft pick. They keep saying Manning because he a Manning. You can't doubt that the Manny won't produce when it because some college quarterbacks are made for the NFL. Manny might be one of them quarterbacks that's made for the NFL. But you already know it's almost season opener. But as we fall back, camp enters its fourth week. Ryan Day and the Buckeyes are getting closer to actual game preparation. They open the season up against Ball State, I think September 5th. Yeah, but the Browns, you know what I'm saying? Did they make the right quarter? Before I leave y'all, man, did the Browns make the right quarterback decision? You know what I'm saying? Do you think Washington got a short lease? Mm. Hey, I said that already. I said he got to come out there and show out, show up and show out. And I think the Guardians are back too. Speaking on the Guardians, I'm just going through, a little thought process, and I believe Peyton Watson is the type of move that can and will change the Cavs. Let's go, Big C. And of course, being number one always gonna put that pressure, but it also can make you feel yourself and go out and perform. You get what I'm saying? But as I was talking in the Think and Reflect segment, can we allow people to grow after we decided who they are? Because that's your opinion. That person might don't believe that's who they are. You get what I'm saying? Some people really become who they are based off of who they're around. But then you got some people that realize who they're around ain't who they are. You get what I'm saying? Who they are is not who they are. It's who they are around. Like the saying goes, you are the average of the 5 people you hang around the most. But again, man, Browns, Guardians, Cavaliers, we talking live, man. Don't forget to tell your buddies and your friends when you see these, because y'all go ham on these clips. I might not see y'all all the way, but man, y'all go ham on them clips, man. Make sure y'all start tuning in, man. Don't be a player hater, be a congratulator. Don't be a player hater, be a congratulator. No. Hey, I used to think I could rap though. Before I get up out of here, make sure y'all scan the QR code. Make sure y'all scan that QR code if you're tuning in or you see this later, and copy you a pair of these new Savannah collection, Bavaria's clothing collection shoes made in Italy. With the croc textured leather, handmade in Italy, man. $269 plus shipping and handling. DM the order, sizes 7 to 13, limited drop. Don't be the one without them. That's Bavaria's, the Savannah collection. Shout out to my niece. Shout out to my niece. If you know, you know. Yeah, I'm trying to. But anyhow, man, the Browns made their quarterback decision, man. Because the decision doesn't prove you were right. What you do after the decision does. The Browns made theirs. The Guardians are making their push. The Cavs are reshaping the roster. O State is carrying that number one target, and the Think and Reflect takes us somewhere bigger. Are you willing to let people become better than the version of them we remember? I am. Let's go. Get better, man. Make today better than yesterday for a greater tomorrow, man. Sports are the lens. Life is the connection. The 216 is where we start. What's your thoughts? SC216. This your boy Ricky D checking out. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share these videos with your comrades so they can get their opinion and let us know what their thoughts are. This your boy Ricky D shouting out, tuning out, ready to go. We're going to get up out of here in a hot second. And there we go. We out.